Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place where we grapple with some really complex texts, big ideas, major events, so you can walk away feeling, clued in.
Ready to hold your own.
Exactly. And today, well, we're diving into one that's definitely a challenge, but incredibly rewarding. Wole Soyinka's 1965 play, The Road.
Yeah, this is a big one. It's not just reflecting post-colonial Nigeria. It really captures the chaos, but gives it this mythic, almost spiritual dimension.
And Soyinka himself, what a figure. Yoruba, academic, activist, Nobel Prize winner later on.
A true polymath. And The Road comes from this intense period right before Nigeria's first military coup. It's thick with the atmosphere of that time. Moral collapse, spiritual questioning.
So our mission then for this deep dive,
Yeah.
really get under the skin of this play. We need to start with the context, right? The politics, the society in Nigeria in the mid-60s.
Absolutely. That turbulence is key. Intrigue, corruption, the media being manipulated. It's all simmering there.
And from there, we'll dig into the play itself, its structure, which is, let's be honest, complex.
Definitely not straightforward.
The theme of moral decay, which seems central, and this incredible mix of Yoruba spirituality and, well, Western theater traditions.
It's a potent blend. And understanding why it's so complex, why Soyinka wrote it this way, that's the goal. It's not just abstract stuff.
No, it's grounded.
Very grounded. It's holding a mirror up to a society right on the edge. Understanding those immediate pressures helps us see how he turned local issues into these huge, universal questions about life, death, God, the big stuff.
Okay, so let's start with Soyinka himself. To get The Road, you really need to get him. Critics talk about these, 5 facets of his identity.
That's a good way to put it. 5 key aspects that all feed into his work. First, and maybe most fundamental for his plays, is his Yoruba identity.
Right, that background gives him so much to draw on.
A massive now. Rich folklore, complex mythology, these incredibly powerful deities like Ogun. It's a deep well.
Then there's the academic side, but also the very practical man of the theater.
Yeah, they're linked. He studied abroad, Leeds, but famously ditched his MA thesis to focus on actual theater.
He wanted to be in it, not just write about it.
Exactly. Actor, director, starting theater companies. He believed in the live experience, not just words on a page.
Which connects to the last 2 facets, the
Right.
political activist and the writer.
Inseparable, really. He wasn't just watching Nigerian politics unfold, he was in it, sometimes quite confrontationally.
His imprisonment during the Civil War, that memoir, The Man Died, it shows real commitment, real risk.
Definitely. He wasn't an armchair critic. He was offered government positions even, which shows how influential he was, even to the people he often challenged.
So how does this multifaceted figure fit into the literary scene back then, this new literature in English?
Well, what's interesting is he wasn't trying to, invent something completely from scratch. He saw himself as part of a continuum.
Building on tradition.
Exactly. Taking traditional Yoruba oral forms, the storytelling, the proverbs, the myths, and weaving them into modern written English drama. And in Yorùbáland, that tradition was incredibly strong, very vibrant.
So he had this rich source material ready to be adapted.
A huge reservoir. He wasn't starting blank. He was remixing, reimagining these ancient forms for a new post-colonial reality.
And this approach, this confidence in his own cultural background, maybe explains his stance on things like negritude. He famously pushed back against it.
Oh, strongly. Negritude, which figures like Senghor in Senegal were championing, was about defining and asserting a kind of global Black or African identity, reclaiming dignity from colonial stereotypes.
Like an energetic racial self-assertion, as the critics put it.
Yeah, and Soyinka just wasn't having it. He thought it was fundamentally defensive, reactive.
Which brings us to that killer quote of his.
From his 1960 essay, yeah. He argued for indifferent self-acceptance. Just be who you are.
A tiger does not have to proclaim his tigritude.
Boom, that's the one. For him, proclaiming it suggested you still cared too much about the outsider's gaze, the colonizer's definition. His art was about being, not proving. Just embody the experience.
But, okay, while he rejected that kind of Pan-African label, he wasn't isolationist either. He practiced what's called selective eclecticism, borrowing ideas from all over.
Absolutely. His mind was wide open. He could engage with Frantz Fanon on, the psychology of violence and liberation.
He called Fanon's insight the brutality of thought.
Right. And then he could quote Mao Zedong, saying Mao's ideas felt African in their practical application to revolution.
While at the same time rejecting Soviet-style communism, the pseudo-Stalinist Leninists, as he called them.
Exactly. He believed any productive person, artist, or scientist had the right to pick and choose ideas from anywhere to use what works. It's an aesthetic of synthesis.
And we see that perfectly in the road, don't we? The deep Yoruba roots are there.
Absolutely central.
But there are also clear echoes of Western theater. You mentioned Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh.
Yes, that's a really significant influence often pointed out, not in terms of plot, really, but the whole atmosphere, the setup.
How so? What's the connection?
Well, Iceman is set in this rundown bar, Harry Hope's saloon. It's full of these characters who are, frankly, failures. Drunks, broken idealists.
Clinging to their pipe dreams, their illusions.
Exactly, just to get through the day. And they're all waiting for Hickey, this charismatic salesman who promises to save them, to make them face reality. But his salvation ends up being destructive.
Okay, I can see the parallel. Professor's shack in the road, the accident store. It functions a bit like that saloon, doesn't it?
It really does. Soyinka gathers his own group of marginalized figures, the drivers, the touts, the hangers-on, all living precariously on the edge, waiting for something, maybe disaster, maybe some kind of twisted redemption.
And Professor himself?
Professor is the Hickey figure, this eccentric, fallen visionary who offers them a path to, supposedly, the ultimate truth, the word. But it's a dangerous path, deeply entangled with death.
So Soyinka uses that familiar structure, the gathering place of lost souls, but fills it with Yoruba metaphysics.
Precisely. It's a brilliant example of his selective eclecticism, taking a Western dramatic convention and using it to explore profoundly African spiritual and social concerns.
Let's dive into that setting then, the physical space of the road. You said it's crucial.
It absolutely is. It's not just scenery, it's speaking volumes before anyone even says a word. We've got this roadside shack, very makeshift.
Right next to a fragment of a church, just a corner, a stained glass window maybe.
Suggesting that faded, perhaps corrupted religious presence, and then dominating everything is the wreck of an old truck, a Balekaja or Mammy wagon.
Turned into the accident store, all part available.
Exactly. The name itself tells you so much. The broken English, the commerce based on tragedy.
It's grimly poetic, and the staging thrusting out towards the audience.
Yeah, it forces you to confront it. This collision of the sacred, or what's left of it, and the profane, the church corner and the shop dealing in scavenged parts from fatal crashes, they're jammed right up against each other.
And for Professor who runs this place, accidents aren't just business.
No, they're his obsession, his spiritual meat, as the sources say, the raw material for his quest.
Talk about Professor himself, this central figure, dressed, bizarrely, in a frock coat and top hat.
Yeah, this kind of faded, maybe slightly absurd, Europeanized look. He comes across as part quack, part madman, part fallen intellectual.
And his backstory confirms that fallen aspect. He literally fell from the church.
Yes, and it wasn't just a crisis of faith. It involved corruption, actual embezzlement of church funds.
He admits it, doesn't he? Something about scraping the wall.
Installed an electric light, red neon. It is, I think, likely that I left the church coffers much depleted. It's blunt. He basically looted the place before he left.
Wow. Replacing piety with red neon. That's quite an image for the shift from spiritual to, well, something else.
Something tawdry, commercial, maybe dangerous. And besides the money, there was blasphemy too, challenging church dogma. So his current quest for the word is happening outside, even against the religious system he betrayed.
And the whole atmosphere around him, around the accident store, it just reeks of decay, doesn't it? The other characters.
Absolutely. It's a microcosm of the wider corruption in the post-colonial state Soyinka was depicting. Take particulars, Joe. The policeman.
The description is brutal.
Face all shiny with bribe, neck plump and greasy. He's the embodiment of institutional rot. The authority figure literally fattened by corruption.
And the general vibe. Samson, the tout, makes a comment about politics, right?
Yeah, he says the current political squabbles have less drama than the old arguments Professor used to have back in the parish. It suggests things have sunk so low, principles are gone, replaced by petty maneuvering, constant scams.
It's a descent into chaos.
And you have characters like, say, Tokyo Kid, the truck driver, also a thug. The play makes it clear these guys, the thugs, they're useful to the politicians.
So the violence and intimidation aren't random.
No, it's part of the system, a tool for maintaining power in this corrupt environment. It's a political economy running on fear and force.
But it's not just internal rot, is it? The story of Sergeant Burma adds another layer. It complicates things.
Immensely. Sergeant Burma is this figure from the recent past, Cotonu's predecessor as a driver. He fought for the British in World War II in the Burma campaign, survived years of fighting, was a POW for a year, a genuine war hero by objective standards.
But he wasn't treated like one when it mattered.
That's the tragedy and the source of his bitterness. He was denied the top medals, the King George Cross, the Victoria Cross. Why? Because the colonial authorities were scared.
Scared of what?
Scared that if they honored him properly, gave him these superior medals, he'd go back to Nigeria and become a political leader, an agitator.
Wow. So pure colonial calculation.
Yeah.
Keep potential leaders down.
Cynical racism, really. Maintain control by suppressing any sign of indigenous excellence or leadership potential.
And Burma's reaction. How does Soyinka show that betrayal affecting him?
His reaction is captured in that pidgin phrase, Haba, justice no day for white man world. It's this profound disillusionment, this sense that the whole system is rigged against him.
And that bitterness turns inwards.
Yeah.
Affects how he operates back home.
Yes, it poisons him. Instead of being a hero, he becomes predatory on the road. The sources mention him stripping tires, valuables off accident victims before taking them to the morgue.
So the injustice he suffered from the colonizer gets passed down, reflected in his own actions.
Exactly. Soyinka is showing that colonial betrayal doesn't just create martyrs or victims, it can create cynicism, cruelty. It teaches the lesson that injustice is the norm, maybe even the way to survive. Burma learns from the white man world and applies its harsh logic back home.
That's a devastating link. The corruption on the road isn't just homegrown. It echoes that larger historical betrayal.
The cycle connects. External injustice fuels internal predation. It's a bleak picture.
Okay, so against this backdrop of moral decay and historical grievance, we have Professor's spiritual quest, which, as you said, is deeply rooted in Yoruba belief.
Yes, the whole play is structured around it. The central image is the road itself, fused with the Yoruba idea of a transitional realm.
A space between life and death.
Precisely. A liminal zone. The road isn't just asphalt, it's the edge, the place where the living and the recently dead are dangerously close.
And Professor, having rejected Christianity, is searching for something else there. This word, what is it exactly?
It seems to be the essence of death itself, ultimate knowledge. He says, the word may be found companion not to life, but death. He's obsessed.
How does he search for it?
In fragments. In old newspapers, the Daily, looking at death notices, accident reports, searching for clues. He looks for it where a scent is broken and a winged secret plummets back to Earth.
That sounds like searching for something divine that's been lost or shattered, maybe linked to his own fall from the church.
Very possibly. Critics see it as a kind of non-Christian take on the fall and redemption story. His own defection is even compared to St. Paul's conversion on the road to Damascus, a sudden, dramatic turnaround.
But instead of finding Christ, he's seeking something else.
Something pagan, maybe. The ultimate truth of transition, of ending. And his method is unorthodox, seeking broken words to find the unbroken word. Using flawed, maybe even profane, means to grasp at something sacred. He wants to cheat fear by foreknowledge.
And Murano, the palm wine tapper, plays a key role in this quest.
Murano is crucial. Professor finds him near death after an accident, basically abandoned in a hearse. He rescues him, or rather preserves him in this state. Murano becomes the embodiment of that transition Professor is obsessed with.
How so? Through the Ejimo spirit.
Yes. Ejimo is a Yoruba masquerade tradition that specifically represents that passage from solid flesh to spirit, to nothingness, like the fibers of the mask itself. Murano exists in that state.
He's stuck on the threshold.
Exactly. And critically, he's mute. He cannot use his tongue. This reflects the Yoruba idea that death's true nature can't be spoken by the living. It's only revealed in the experience itself.
So Murano holds the word but can't express it.
He's a living paradox, a vessel for the secret Professor craves, but unable to deliver it verbally. He foreshadows Professor's own end, where death will finally reveal itself to him.
Beyond Murano, there's the constant presence of this other powerful Yoruba force. Ogun.
Ogun looms large. He's Soyinka's personal patron deity and incredibly important in the Yoruba pantheon. God of iron, metalwork, hunting, creativity, but also destruction.
The revolutionary spirit, but also dangerous.
Hugely dangerous. That duality is key. Ogun is linked to progress tools, cars, roads, but also to the violence they enable to crash, the spilled blood. He's both the creator of the path and the potential destroyer on it.
That duality mirrors the political situation too, doesn't it? Progress and destruction all mixed up.
Absolutely. The road itself becomes an extension of Ogun, conceptualized as this treacherous god. Sometimes a great dusty snake, it can help you, or it can swallow him whole or break him on the earth.
There's no easy path, no safe bet.
None. Which is why navigating this world is so fraught. And Professor's final advice to the drivers captures this terrifying reality.
What does he tell them?
He tells them, be the road, embrace its nature, coil yourself in dreams, lay flat in treachery and deceit, and at the moment of a trusting step, rear your head and strike the traveler in his confidence.
Wow, that's bleak. Basically, become the predator to survive.
It suggests the only way to survive the treacherous spiritual and political landscape is to embody its treachery, become one with the destructive god.
Which leads us to the play's structure and language. It's known for being difficult.
Yeah.
A problem play.
Yes, and the problem is partly about communication itself. Can language even capture this reality? The play questions that right from the start.
In the opening?
The opening is all visual, mime. We see the setting. We see Murano silently disappearing, Samson poking at a spiderweb. It establishes mood and theme without words.
Setting up a tension with the dialogue that follows.
Exactly. It makes you question the value or adequacy of words right away. If the world is this broken, maybe language is too.
And Soyinka's language is challenging. Critics note its vibrant quality, but also the paradoxes, the puns.
The double entendre. It's dense, layered. Not easy for, as one critic put it, pedestrian wits to follow. Soyinka often seems more interested in creating a powerful mood or tone than in driving a simple plot forward.
It's about accumulation of meaning.
Yes, through these rich, often difficult metaphors, you have to actively piece it together.
Professor's speech is a key example of this difficulty, his Platonic view of things.
Right. He doesn't see things literally. An accident victim isn't just a body. They are crucified on rigid branches, meaning the shattered glass or wreckage. He imposes this highly interpretive, metaphorical layer onto everything.
Which distances him from the drivers who are just trying to survive.
Completely. He's operating on this metaphysical plane, using broken words, the messy reality around him in his quest for the ultimate unbroken word.
And this quest, this whole approach, culminates in a climax that isn't about a neat explanation, is it?
Not at all. And this is where Soyinka really challenges those typical Eurocentric theater conventions. No simple, linear story resolved through dialogue. Instead, we get this dramatic condensation, layers of action, symbols piling up. And the peak moment involves Murano, possessed by the Ogun mask.
The mask representing the ancestors, the dead.
Yes. And Murano communicates the essence of death, the word. Not by speaking, but through dance, ritual movement.
So the meaning is conveyed visually, physically.
Primarily, it reinforces the play's core idea. Some truths, maybe the deepest ones, are beyond words. They have to be experienced, witnessed, felt through ritual, music, movement. The audience sees the transition, even if Professor's complex monologue alongside it is hard to fully grasp in the moment.
Given all this, the myths, the dense language, the nonlinear structure, it's no surprise some critics were, well, frustrated.
Oh, definitely. You see terms like defiantly difficult, a multifaceted cryptograph, accusations of obscure and inaccessible diction.
Did they feel it wasn't really for a local Nigerian audience?
Some question that, yeah. Was it aimed more at an international academic elite who could potentially unpack all the illusions, the mix of Yoruba and O'Neill?
But the defense is that the complexity serves a purpose. It's not just being difficult for its own sake.
Exactly. The argument is that it's a dialectical exposition. The meaning isn't just in the words, it's in the total theatrical experience, the design, the sound, the gestures, the rhythm, as well as the dialogue.
You're meant to be immersed in the chaos, not just told about it.
Precisely. It's sensory, maybe even overwhelming. That's part of the effect, confronting the fragmentation and the intensity of that world.
So even if intellectually puzzling at first, it still worked as theater.
That's what even the exasperated critics often admitted. They'd concede it makes brilliant theater. It could be appreciated as a series of well-paced theatrical happenings. The sheer energy of it, the characters, the arguments, the final ritual dance, has an immediate impact.
It sounds like Professor's final monologue tries to bridge that gap between the intellectual quest and the raw reality.
It does. He's trying to articulate his supposed foreknowledge of death. But he uses metaphors drawn directly from the driver's world, the road, the snake, the treachery.
The high-flown quest finds its language in the gutter, almost.
That's the synthesis, the sacred truth revealed through the profane details of corruption and car crashes, the profound found in the grit.
And in that synthesis, does Soyinka offer any easy answers? Does one side win the spiritual or the political?
No, and that's crucial. He maintains the tension, always. It's like the balance in Yoruba thought between Orunmila, the principle of order and wisdom, and Isu, the unpredictable trickster god, the mediator of chaos.
Truth isn't one or the other, but in the balance, the conflict.
Exactly. It's in recognizing the perpetual dynamic, the constant interplay between these opposing forces. The play doesn't offer a solution. It forces you to confront the paradox.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. We've journeyed down the road with Wole Soyinka. We've seen this intense mix, the politics of post-colonial Nigeria, deep Yoruba spirituality, and this really challenging, complex theatrical form.
It really is a quest for meaning, isn't it? Right at that messy intersection of modernity, corruption, tradition, life, and inevitably death on the road.
And what really stands out is how Soyinka avoids giving us a simple takeaway message.
Deliberately avoids it. Like Professor himself notes, a simple statement is thus usually avoided in Soyinka. He holds the extremes, order chaos, spirit flesh, hope betrayal in this constant, tense balance.
Mediated by figures like Professor or spirits like Ejimo or the dual-natured god Ogun.
Right. So the truth, if there is one, isn't some final word that Professor finds. Maybe it's just in acknowledging that tension, that ongoing cosmic dance between all these forces.
Between life and the ever-present possibility of the accident.
Yeah. The Enlightenment isn't finding the answer. It's learning to live within the question, within the conflict itself.
So a final thought for you listening. As you navigate your own roads, the challenges in your work, your life, your own beliefs, think about that balance. What extreme might be dominating your perspective right now?
Are you pushing for that simple, clear-cut answer? Or can you, like Soyinka perhaps challenges us to, embrace the complexity? Can you find meaning not in a final destination, but in navigating the tension between the opposing forces along the way?
Something to definitely think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Wole Soyinka's The Road.
It's been fascinating.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.